Hi, I'm Jillian Mealy. After 2 decades in television news, I went back to school, left my career, and started a business from scratch, all in the search of freedom and flexibility with my time and voice. But all of that time in TV taught me a thing or two, to say the least. So if you are looking to gain more confidence, empower yourself, tap into a better mindset, and grow, this podcast is for you. Let's dive in and grow together. Welcome back. I'm Jillian Mealy. Today, I want to dive into a topic that I am super passionate about. Why I believe your presence is your superpower. Well, one of them anyway. Decades in television taught me all about the importance of overall presence, from the way you dress to how you speak to the way you carry yourself and how you make others feel. In this episode, I will break down those topics and give you some tips for presentation skills directly from my almost 20 years in television. I'll also tell you why I believe listening is the most important aspect of communication and why being authentic goes a long way in having a powerful presence. I will also do this in a somewhat chronological order, as best I can anyway, so that the message flows. Question: have you ever been to an event, a party, a work function, or maybe just out to dinner with friends and someone grabs your attention? You probably don't even know them, but you notice them. That person likely had a really strong presence about them that drew you in. Maybe it was the way they carried themselves, their confidence, their smile, something about their aura caught you. You probably admired it. We've all experienced something like that. And you kind of stop for a second. You're like, dang, I want to be like that. Newsflash, you can be. But it starts with you being the one to believe it. And more importantly, you being the one to want it. Your presence has the power to take you to the next level. Not only can it elevate you, it can transform you. When your presence is one that exudes confidence and class, you, my friend, are a force. Alternatively, your presence also has the ability to hold you back, and I think it is important to recognize that. When you kind of stay in a shell, timid and afraid, or nervous and shy, you aren't really giving other people a reason to be confident in you. When you show up for, say, a work event, completely underdressed, put it this way, that doesn't make you look good. Your presence can be seen, felt, and heard. And the great thing is, it is within your control. Let me repeat that. It is within your control. Let it sink in for a second, because you can choose all of these things. You can choose to be a great speaker, to continue to work on your presentation skills and take those steps towards growth and improvement. You can choose to be a better golfer if you want, by getting lessons and working even in the off season. You can choose how you show up every single day for others and for you. And for those of you listening who are maybe thinking, okay, sure, it's easy for me to talk about confidence and presence because I spent almost 20 years on TV. I'm here to tell you that I built up to being the confident person I am today. I was not always like this. I was the girl who, in high school, barely spoke because I was so shy and nervous. True story. Years after I started my career in television, I ran into one of my high school teachers who said she couldn't believe I ended up with a job speaking for a living on television because I barely spoke in class. As I got older, I continued to grow confidence, but I always had some feelings of inadequacies. Maybe you can relate to that and understand what I'm saying. I think we all feel that way from time to time. No one is confident 100% of the time. But I will tell you from very personal experience, it took a lot of reflection on my part to get to where I am today. I got tired of watching others and what I viewed as their shining presence and feeling like I was in the shadows. Here's the thing though, I did that to myself. It was my fault. And when I recognized that, I changed my mindset completely. For me anyway, this isn't about faking it till you make it. We all have reasons to be confident, but like anything good in life, it can take some work to recognize and accept them. I would love to say to you, oh, just go and act confident. That will be enough. It won't. I promise. Maybe that would be enough for a day or a week or maybe for that one event. But that's not long-term growth. I want you to see in yourself what others see in you, and trust me, they do. I want you to recognize your uniqueness and successes and celebrate them because you should. From my perspective, the whole fake it till you make it mindset is one of waiting for something to happen to you versus putting in the work, time, and reflection to recognize, accept, and celebrate your accomplishments and effort. To me, fake it till you make it, it's like here. If you're just listening, I'm depicting this plateaued flat line that we keep walking and waiting. The alternative is to intentionally take tiny steps upwards in the direction of growth, knowing that each step gets us closer to our ultimate goal. You have a choice to keep walking that straight line, waiting, or to start to climb those steps one at a time as you grow. To me, it seems like a no-brainer. So, if you're ready for some more of my perspective and tips, keep listening, starting with this. The first thing people see before you even get out the words, "Hi, I'm Jillian," they've already noticed your appearance. I'm not sitting here telling you that clothing is the most important thing, but yes, it does matter. Your overall appearance matters. It's part of your presence, from how you're dressed for the occasion to how prepared and timely you are. I don't know about you, but being late gives me major anxiety. I'm the person who will stress sweat in the car if I know I'm going to be more than a few minutes late for something. I am punctual to a fault. 2 decades in live television will do that to you. If you are even seconds late for a show, it starts without an anchor, which means you're in trouble. That's a big no-no. Over the years, I've learned how to perfect my timing. And more importantly, I've learned how important it actually is. In fact, when I was working in New York City for a year and a half of the almost 5 years, I was commuting from Philadelphia, which on the surface doesn't really seem that complicated because a lot of people do it every day. However, in my case, the trains didn't run overnight to get me to Midtown Manhattan at 1:45 a.m. for my call time for a 4 a.m. show. I won't bore you with all the details of my commute, but needless to say, for a year and a half, I commuted 5 hours a day in total at off hours and never missed the start of a show, not once. In fact, my whole career as an anchor, I never missed the start of a show. If you walk into a room late while a speech is happening and everyone in the audience is still and silent, your presence will be noticed as you work your way in. Before you have the chance to personally meet anyone, you are noticed as the person who is late. Not to mention, as a bit of a side note, being late, especially for something smaller and maybe more personal, in my mind anyway, is just a flat out disrespect of other people's time. Say you're at a black tie event, not wearing black tie. Yep, it's noticed, especially as a female. If everyone's in long, beautiful gowns and you're in a knee-length cocktail dress, it's like my worst nightmare right there. If you are underdressed or overdressed too much, it matters. Meeting the moment in your timeliness, preparation, and appearance goes a long way. Think about it like this. If you aren't meeting the moment in those areas, you're creating a distraction. And when you create a distraction, sure, you are remembered, but not in the way you want to be remembered. You want to be on people's radar for the right reasons, for being classy and elegant, prepared and inquisitive, on time and reliable, not for being the late, underprepared, underdressed person. Nobody likes that. People notice confidence. For some of you anyway, I hate to be maybe the bearer of bad news, but confidence is probably noticed more than some of us would like to realize. Remember at the start of this episode when I asked if you've ever noticed someone's presence and thought you'd want to be like them and have that presence that captivates people's attention? The same can be said when you lack confidence. People notice. I think that building confidence is a skill. Some people, sure, might naturally seem to have some of it, but we are all constantly building confidence, even if it is unintentional. Through every lived experience, we gain confidence. Each time we challenge ourselves to try something new, no matter how painful it is to start, we build confidence and grow. Each time we mess up and pick ourselves back up, we are gaining confidence in the end because we learn from that experience and grow in the process. But you have to want it. You have to want to work at this skill and continue to build it. To start, you have to recognize what it is that you want. So I ask, what does confidence look like to you? What confidence do you want? Is it overall in life? Is it with your job, a sport, activity, or other hobby? A speech you'll give? All of the above? Think about it. Think about what it looks like to you. For me these days, it is facing challenges head on, accepting them, and not being afraid. We have a choice as to what confidence we build and how we build it. This is all within our control. And I know that as I say that, there are probably doubters out there shaking their head, but the truth is, we can control our confidence. We can control our presence. This is on us. End of story. Not end of episode, end of point, if you will. By the way, I will have another full episode on confidence next week where I'll answer some of your questions and give you my theory on it as well as tips. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about confidence when discussing presence, because we wouldn't have our presence without our confidence. To me, the two go hand in hand. Your presence and how you carry yourself makes such a statement and can really separate you. Having poise, good posture, and confidence is such a powerful combination. People remember someone who exudes confidence because it is palpable and something to be admired. As an example, and a question for you. If you're at a cocktail party or maybe a networking event, are you the person who sort of wanders around until people come up to you to talk, and then in the back of your mind, you're like, oh gosh, this annoying small talk? Or are you the type that introduces yourself, goes up to people and starts conversations with strangers? During some of my coaching sessions, I have told clients the very same thing that I will share with you right now. Try to challenge yourself to starting conversations with 3 different people the next time you go to an event. When you look at something as a self-challenge, you will want to succeed, and your mindset shifts a bit from just thinking of it as being maybe that awkward, annoying small talk. When you are intentional about it, the whole experience changes. So then maybe you're wondering, okay, I'm there on time, I'm dressed right because I did my research, I'm prepared, I go up to people to start conversations. Then what? Well, this is where your presentation skills come into play. It's your opportunity to leave a mark. I'm going to break this down into a few of my personal do's and don'ts. I have a bunch of them, but I feel like small doses of things that are maybe in a list are better to absorb because it gives you time to really think about them all. So I'll start with a few of my do's. Do listen. And I don't mean just sort of hear people while thinking in your head about how you will respond, or maybe who you're going to talk to next, or your stomach's growling, so what food they're going to be serving. Those are all great questions and things to think about, but not in that moment. I mean, genuinely listen. Be so present in that conversation that you make the other person feel seen and heard. Instead of replying, try to ask a follow-up question to make them understand how engaged you are in what they are saying. When people feel seen and heard, they feel good. And when you make them feel that way, they will remember you. Years in television taught me how important listening really is. If I was interviewing someone and asked them a question, and while they were responding, I wasn't listening, the next question I ask could be a total disaster. They could have just answered it and I missed it because I wasn't listening. So then I ask a question and they're like, I just said that. Embarrassing, right? Or I could have missed a really good opportunity at a follow-up question. Neither of those scenarios is good. Okay, next, do make eye contact, but not like creepy, not blinking, staring kind of eye contact. Eye contact so that the other person knows you are listening and engaged. It is so off-putting and distracting when we are in a conversation with someone and their eyes are wandering. At that point, you know they aren't really paying attention. And what do you want to do then? Leave the conversation. Next, do maintain good posture, a smile, and an overall friendly and professional demeanor. All of these things are signs of confidence, in my opinion, and they're all important to maintain. A person with good posture comes across as more powerful and confident. Someone smiling seems friendly and makes you comfortable to be in their presence. All of these things, drum roll please, are within your control. Sensing a theme? You can tell yourself to stand tall, to smile, be friendly. If you want it enough, all of these things are at your fingertips. Think about the opposite, okay? Someone who's slouched over, not smiling, seems agitated, nervous, maybe annoyed to be there. Nothing about that makes you want to engage with that person, correct? The only answer is correct. Okay, next do. Know how to communicate your message, whether it be your elevator pitch, a story you will tell, or how you plan to steer the conversation. The best communicators can do this in a way that is concise and clear. Enough detail so that what you are saying is riveting, but not too much detail that people are trying to find ways to exit stage left. Attention spans are short. So if your story is too long, you have the potential of losing people along the way. And you don't want to be the person who talks too much. When writing news scripts, we had to fine tune the ability to tell some stories in about 20 seconds, which, by the way, is nearly impossible. Can be done, very difficult. Other stories have more time, but even still, having a minute and a half say is such a short amount of time to get all of the relevant and important information included. That's why, side note, journalists make great employees in other fields and industries because they know how to boil down even the most complex information to a concise and easy to understand manner. It's why when I listen to other podcasts, and I listen to a bunch of them, and some of the hosts go on for an hour or more, I'm sitting there like, geez, time is valuable, and you could have said this in a much more concise way in half the time. Kidding, kind of. You get the point. When people are either underprepared or not in the mindset of being concise or just flat out don't know how to be concise, it can be hard to figure out the right details to include, which ones to leave out. But the result is people just end up rambling and talking for way too long. By the way, that is also a skill and another one that is within your control. Knowing how to effectively communicate your message is a very powerful skill that should not be underestimated. Now on to two of my don'ts. And I will say that these both feel weird to mention because they seem simple, especially the second one. But this first don't that I have, I get a lot of questions about this, okay? Don't use filler words. The ums, ahs, likes. They make you come across as unprofessional. It's just as simple as that. You can be the smartest person in the room with the best information, but if you are not presenting it in a way that captures people, your message might not be heard. I will say the filler words can be extremely tough to overcome, but it can be done. It does, though, take a lot of awareness and practice. In fact, I have an online presentation skills course through Skills Studio. And this is one of the topics of many that I address because I get asked this question all the time. How do I stop myself from using those filler words? Know that if you want to improve in this area, you absolutely can. As I mentioned, it requires a lot of self-awareness and a lot of patience. Maybe phone a friend, a family member, or a friend, or a loved one, anyone that you know and trust to help you with this, to pinpoint and tell you when you use these filler words so you can figure out why you're using them. And then once you're aware of when and why you're using them, then you can work on overcoming them. But it just takes a while. Okay, this next don't, I will warn you and preface this by saying this one is a personal pet peeve. And it truly feels strange to include this because I thought most people were aware of this. But from very recent personal experience, everyone is absolutely not aware of this, so I added it. Okay? You've been warned. Don't be on your phone. Seriously. I've had so much experience with, or at least seeing people, if not in my exact company, I've seen other people at other dinner tables or things, just being on their phones at a table in front of others with company that maybe you invite to an event. I just feel like it's flat out rude to everyone else there. This is such an easy way to paint yourself in a bad light. If you are going to be in that room and in that conversation, be there. Be present in it. The phone should wait, unless, of course, it's an emergency. That's a whole other topic. When you are at an event, whether it be personal or professional, I think the goal should always be to appreciate the people you are there with. Listen to them, ask them questions, be inquisitive and in the moment, and make them feel good. When we make others feel heard and seen, it makes us feel good too. How you make others feel says a lot about you and the presence that you bring with you. When you have enough real confidence and you are comfortable in your own skin, you don't have to be the center of attention or the loudest person in the room. I don't know about you, but I sometimes find the most interesting people in the room to be the quietest. And to clarify, I don't mean quiet as in sitting in a corner or at a table by themselves because they're shy and nervous. I mean quiet because they're actively listening. They are very involved in the room, very involved in the conversations. They're super inquisitive, but not boisterous. They're not attention seeking, rather, they're giving attention. They are the people that intrigue me the most, the quiet, confident type. You know who I'm talking about, right? When I spot them, I can't wait to hear what they have to say because usually it's pretty darn good. Big picture to me, this all goes back to mindset. As I said at the beginning, this is within your control. How you present yourself is entirely up to you. You have a choice to shift your mindset. We all do. You have a choice to be prepared, to dress for the occasion, to learn how to best communicate your message to the audience in front of you, to know the audience in front of you. You have the power to see a crowd at an event or other situation, and instead of sitting back, to step forward into the discomfort and get yourself out there. You have the power to stand out. These days, attention spans are short. Everyone has a million things on their mind at all times. I know I'm guilty of this. Making an impression in a short amount of time is valuable and an important skill to have. I have a few other tips for you. Short and sweet. Be authentic. People can see right through it if you are not. Have integrity in everything that you do. Trust me, when people respect you and they trust you, it's going to take you far, I promise. Have pride in yourself. Recognize your accomplishments, and every little step along the way, celebrate them. I don't think we do enough of that. The more you see and appreciate your progress and growth, the more it will help your confidence. So remember, your presence is your superpower because it has the power to get you that job, to get you that promotion, to put you in front of the right people, to communicate well, to gain the new client, to represent yourself or your company when it matters most, to meet that moment. It has the power to change your life. Truly, that's how much I believe in having a good presence. From my 2 decades in television, I can tell you that your presence matters a lot. I can also tell you that you can work on it, curate it, and build it however you want because it is your skill that can be fine-tuned. Your task, if you so choose to accept, is to think about what a strong presence looks like to you. Think about that time when someone's presence caught your attention. What did it look and feel like? And how did it make you feel? Think about the type of presence you want to have and about ways that you can get there. Maybe it doesn't happen overnight. Most things don't, but little by little is better than no progress at all. I will have more tips in future episodes. As I wrap up this one, a few more things for you to think about. Your accomplishments and the small steps you've taken forward in growth. What can you celebrate today that you can put into your confidence bank? The more you build the bank, the closer you are to having that unshakable and unstoppable presence that stands out. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jillian Mealy. I'll see you back here next time.